Is Brexit to blame for the migrant crisis? Now, according to government figures, more than 40,000 have crossed the English Channel this year alone. And this is more than the 2 previous years combined. So over 10,000 of those who have actually arrived in this country have come from Albania. Now, earlier, the Albanian Prime Minister, Edi Rama, blamed the current migrant crisis on Brexit, saying the tough job roles need to be filled, and he used sectors such as agriculture and factory work as an example, claiming that British kids aren't keen to do those kind of jobs. And to add fuel to the fire, he also called on the Home Secretary to write a letter of apology, here we go, after using the word invasion to describe the migrant crisis, as he believes it stirs up hatred. But on the other hand, on the other side, many have blamed the bureaucracy within the Home Office and tensions with France on the current crisis, and critics claim that Brexit is being used as a scapegoat. So what's your view for the Great British Debate this hour? I'm asking, is Brexit to blame for the migrant crisis? I'm joined now by the Deputy Leader of UKIP, Rebecca Jane. Rebecca, thank you so much for joining me. So, Rebecca, just let's cut to the chase. In your view, do you think Brexit is to blame?
Absolutely not. I mean, first of all, we don't actually have Brexit. We've got a cobbled together version of what our current leadership has decided to call Brexit, but it's not actually what people asked for. So no, and I absolutely agree. It has been made a complete scapegoat because everybody that didn't like the Brexit idea, whatever we're talking about, they use it as an excuse. Brexit's to blame for this, Brexit's to blame for that. Well, do you know what? If you did it properly in the first place, maybe it wouldn't be to blame for anything, and I don't think it's to blame in this case whatsoever.
Well, some people might point to the Dublin regulation, which meant that anyone who set foot in another EU country first could actually be returned to that country. So basically, we could return people to France, but now we are not part of that. Some people may put that forward as an argument.
I don't see how it's an argument whatsoever. I think you might have to explain that one a little bit better to me. I don't understand where that would come from.
Well, basically, we've all signed this deal that if you're part of the EU, someone sets foot in an EU country first, they can't then move to another one and then try and claim asylum in another one. So, for example, the migrants who are in France, if they came to this country, we'd have been able to send them back, which is kind of what we were doing before Brexit. So that's that. I'm just saying that's what some people might point to as a reason. You may not.
No, they can point to it as a reason all they want. It's an incredibly weak argument. At the end of the day, if we had strong leadership in this country, we wouldn't need to be pointing fingers and making weak arguments. We can actually just say, do you know what? Our current government, you've got it wrong. Get a tougher stance, do something proper. You know, they have not put forward any proposition that is remotely workable, and they're just not getting a grip on this, just like they're not getting a grip on many things. So it's just another scapegoat, another idea, and anybody that doesn't like Brexit is always going to find these, well, what they think are loopholes, and in my opinion are just nonsense.
What about, because obviously now Rishi Sunak seems to be talking with Macron. I mean, it wasn't, to me, it looked a bit slimy. There's a bit of a bromance, but that's fine. If it means that we get a deal done, then that's great. Do you think that was one of the main reasons why we were struggling? Because you've pointed out that leadership is something that is lacking at the moment.
The leadership of this country is everything to blame. You know, we're getting passed off from one nonsense prime minister to the next one, and every single one of them is completely as useless as the next. So yeah, I think it's just, you know, I'm part of UKIP, UK Independence Party. It's not in our interest right now to call for a general election. However, for the benefit of the country, it absolutely would be. Personally, I'm wanting to hold on for a little bit longer so I can finish lining up candidates. But basically, it's our government and our leadership that are at fault for everything that is wrong today, and something has to be done, and we have to stop looking in all these other different directions and do something about it.
And briefly, why do you think that the migrants keep coming then in ever larger numbers? I mean, they don't seem to be worried about it at all. What do you think the main pull factor is?
Well, it's the 4- and 5-star accommodation and the luxurious holidays that they're getting. That's what it is. Honestly, it's an absolute nightmare to try and get accommodation in the northeast at the minute. That's because it's all taken up by immigration. And why on earth would you not want to come to this country? It's absolutely glorious.
Well, Rebecca, stay right there.